Hey guys, last time I talked about leadership and gregariousness. You can click up somewhere up here to check that out. This will be the last episode that I do for this project. I might make more videos on this subject because I do really like it, but for my school project, this will be it. Today, I'm going to talk about communication. I think there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding shy and introverted people on this subject. First, let's take a look at shyness. A shy person usually won't speak up unless they have to, and you can imagine how much stress this can cause. That constant bombardment of fear and fearing having to speak can really be exhausting, and that's how, if you remember back to our definitions of introversion, you can see how that can mirror introversion. Being around people can be exhausting, but being stressed out is also exhausting. Personally, when I get shy is when I'm meeting a large group of people for the first time and I don't really have anyone else there to kind of anchor me down. Like, I'm basically just thrown into a group and told to talk to people, which is stressful. It's kind of like being lost in a sea of people, and even though they might be dolphins, they look a heck of a lot like sharks. So when you're nervous and you're in these types of situations, your heart rate speeds up and your breathing shallows, so you talk a little softer than you normally would. And this has caused people to say, oh, what, I can't hear you. And you need to speak up louder, making you speak more, which makes you more nervous, and it's just a vicious cycle. And you might be wondering, Callie, how did you become so cool and not quiet all the time? Well, that's a good question, random internet stranger. I kind of tricked myself into not being shy. I made it kind of a game, and I convinced myself that that stress and adrenaline was really cool. I'm not an adrenaline junkie, but I just thought it, and it happened because the brain is cool like that. So I tried to anticipate that rush of stress and stuff and make it a pleasurable experience. It's kind of hard to explain. You're basically training yourself to enjoy stress. Eventually what happens is you get used to these stress hormones and they don't really affect you as much. However, I can tell a difference if I haven't been in a stressful situation in a while, and then I'm just thrown into one. I do feel nervous and shy again. What you're basically doing is expanding your bubble that you feel comfortable in, and once you're used to getting out of that bubble, the bubble will get bigger. So researchers did a study, and I'll talk about the bulk of what they looked at in a few seconds. But what they found was that in communication styles of learning, that extroverts and introverts were both susceptible to shyness and anxiety. The main bulk of the study looked at how personality type affects how you learn how to communicate. Basically what they did was they took people, divided them into introvert and extrovert. They gave them a list of words to study and asked them how they learned to study them. As one would expect, the introverts used more social learning styles, so they would go and ask people to help them study. Introverts, on the other hand, didn't use these social styles as much, but they did use a wider array of metacognition and cognitive learning styles. So you look at the term metacognition, it means thinking about thinking, basically. So you're more ruminating and thinking how you learn this stuff. You're more likely to know how your brain works. This suggests that introverts may be better at learning language than extroverts because they're thinking more about it. They're not just rehearsing it with someone else. The main misconception is that introverted people can't communicate as effectively, they're not good at it. I think this is more true for the people who are shy, because when you're shy, you're speaking softer and you're not clearly getting your point out. You're probably stumbling over your words because you're so nervous. Introverts, on the other hand, they're perfectly calm and they can say, they just don't. A common question I got asked in school was, why are you so quiet? Or why don't you talk? And I'm like, because I don't really have anything to say. I'm not one to speak a lot. That's because I don't like speaking. Like, ask my family. I will jabber on and on for hours and hours and keep them up late at night. It just all depends on the situation. So for this project, I hope you learned some more about introversion and shyness that you might not have thought of, and I hope it clears up some of the misconceptions about us introverts. You made it to the end again, guys. Thank you for watching. I know it's probably hard and boring, but thank you. Links and sources in the doodly-doo down below, as well as a question that I haven't made up yet. Be sure to comment if maybe you have suggestions of a next project that I should do. You click somewhere over here for my last video. For the last video, because this is my last video for this project, but hopefully not forever. Like and subscribe, and that's it. I wish I had a catchphrase, but I don't. I'm just gonna do this until I stop the video.